Namaskar everyone, CA Nisha this side, and today I have an important announcement to make that whatever content, whatever video will get uploaded on my YouTube channel from today's onward, I will try to incorporate sections as per Income Tax Act 2025. Reason being that lots of discussions have been taken place amongst the colleagues and the seniors that how we will be able to learn income tax act 2025 when we are so well versed with the provisions of income tax act 1961. It was part of our academic, it was part of our practice, and we have been practicing for so many years with these provisions, and suddenly now from April 1, 2026, this new act is coming into existence. So how it would all be possible? There are so much restrictions, barriers, pressures over us to learn new things. So basically, I have come up with this new idea that why don't we learn in a playful manner? And this YouTube channel is a medium of interaction with you all the professionals, whether sitting in my city or whether they are residing in some other place. I would like to make it very clear on the first instance that those who are having a concern in their mind, in their mind that Income Tax 2025 is a completely changed version of Income Tax Act 1961, that cannot be said 100% true statement, because government has taken the help of various tables, schedules, chapters in order to present the plain text into tabular form. So you can say that firstly that yes, clear and plain text would be presented in a tabular form. That is first change. Secondly, there are some sections which have been omitted, which have not been used for so many years in our daily income tax transactions or activities. Those have been omitted. Third change is that language has been made simplified. And fourth, the major change according to me is that various subsections, clauses, sub clauses that have been merged into major one major section. So we will be having example of this particular thing in our today's video. So try to learn by watching these videos, and it is very difficult to unlearn actually old things, but it is very easy to learn new things. So comparatively, rather than concentrating on unlearn those things which we have earlier in our mind, concentrate on learning new sections as per Income Tax Act 2025. So I will be quoting, I will be taking into reference only new sections as per Income Tax Act 2025, क्योंकि हमें ओल्ड प्रोविजंस जो हैं इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961 की वो पता है. एंड मेजॉरिटी ऑफ सेक्शंस में कंटेक्स्ट विल रिमेन सेम. एंड आई विल ट्राई टू इनकॉर्पोरेट इन माई वीडियो कहाँ पर चेंजेस आए हैं, कौन से चेंजेस आए हैं, एंड जहाँ पर चेंजेस नहीं आए हैं that also I will mention that there is no change. So proceeding with this, we will be starting today's video, but I need your cooperation and participation in this. It would be highly appreciated if you suggest some improvement, if you suggest some additions which I could make while making this video, so it would be very helpful for me also. So let's start with Income Tax Act 2025, because we have to make some start, and it is always difficult to start something. Beginning is always difficult. So I would randomly be picking up some sections, because it become quite boring sometimes to start from the very beginning, which you have read for so many years, so many times. So I would prefer picking up the sections randomly out of Income Tax Act 2025 rather than starting it from the very beginning. So, as you can see on my screen, there is an Income Tax Act 2025, and today we are going to discuss a very important section. Now, all the sections of Income Tax Act is very important, but today's section is today's provisions are those which are related to our daily life, and we talk about tax planning. When I will be giving you the introduction, you will be very easily under it will be very easily understandable that which provisions or which sections am I talking about. So in order to reduce the tax liability, first thing which a layman keep in his or her mind is that by diverting the income or by diverting the source of income, it would be easier to reduce the tax liability. But there are some special cases where income tax department or income tax act says that no, if you are transferring any of the source or any of the income to your family members, to your spouse, to your daughter-in-law, to your son, they would get clubbed in your hands. So you got it. We are going to discuss today clubbing of income. So as you can see on my screen, first we will be taking uh, comparative analysis of clubbing of income कि क्या क्या changes जो हैं वो introduce किए गए हैं. So as you can see on my screen that there is a chapter 5. So clubbing of income in Income Tax Act 2025 is incorporated in chapter 5, income of other persons included in total income of assessee. There is a note written. There are no changes in incidence of taxation or methodology of clubbing of income under the new act. कोई ऐसा change नहीं किया गया है. Rather, the new provisions have been simplified and redundant provision have been removed. Further, certainty has been brought in wherever possible. Okay. सो इस चीज़ को समझने के लिए मैंने एक पीपीटी आप लोगों के लिए रेडी की है जहाँ पर सेक्शन वाइज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं और मैंने यहाँ पर जो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड है वहाँ पे सेक्शन मेंशन किया है इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961 का और जो राइट हैंड साइड पे आप देख रहे हैं 96 दैट वुड बी सेक्शन ऑफ न्यू इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 2025. So let's start with this. First is section 96 of ITA 2025. What does section 96 says? Transfer of income without transfer of asset. So if any person transfers income to his family members like spouse without transferring the asset, then that income would get clubbed in the hand of the transferor. So basically here the crux is that asset is not transferred, only the income is transferred. It is irrelevant whether that transfer is revocable or irrevocable. To understand the meaning of revocable and irrevocable, we have to come to section 97 of ITA 2025. So earlier clubbing of income was section 60 to 65 was there to incorporate all the provisions relating to clubbing of income. Now sections as per Income Tax Act 2025 is 96 200. So section 96 200 will be incorporating all the provisions relating to clubbing of income. What does section 96 says? Repeat with me. If income is transferred without transferring the assets, then income get clubbed in the hand of the transferor. It is irrelevant whether it is revocable transfer or irrevocable transfer. So in both the cases, in either of the cases, income would get clubbed in the hand of the transferor itself. Section 97 says us about the revocable transfers. So transfer will be is said to be revocable when transfer can be revoked during the lifetime of the transactions. There is a power to reassume the control over that transferred assets. Transferor would be taxed. In this case, transferor is the person who would get taxed, in whose hands the income would be clubbed. So रेवोकेबल का मतलब आप ले सकते हैं दैट ट्रांसफर को आप रिवोक कर पा रहे हैं, आप पावर रिज्यूम कर पा रहे हैं यानी अपना कंट्रोल रिज्यूम कर पा रहे हैं और जो फ्यूचर बेनिफिट राइज होने वाला है उस एसेट से वो भी आपको मिलने वाला है. दैट कुड बी रेवोकेबल ट्रांसफर. सो दिस वाज सेक्शन 97. अब सेक्शन 97 में उन्होंने दो सेक्शंस जो हैं वो मर्ज कर दिए हैं, सेक्शन 61 एंड सेक्शन 62. सेक्शन 61 हमें बताता था रेवोकेबल ट्रांसफर के बारे में. सेक्शन 62 बताता था हमें एक्सेप्शंस ऑफ सेक्शन 61, यानी कि अगर आपकी इररेवोकेबल ट्रांसफर है ड्यूरिंग द लाइफ टाइम, ऐसी ट्रांसफर जो कि आप पूरी लाइफ टाइम में रिवोक कर ही नहीं सकते, वो सेक्शन 62 में कवर होती थी. ट्रांसफरर को उस ट्रांजेक्शन से कोई भी बेनिफिट नहीं होने वाला. उस केस में हम क्लबिंग की प्रोविजंस फ्रेम में नहीं लाते हैं. सो बेसिकली सेक्शन 61 एंड 62 मर्ज्ड इन सेक्शन 97. Now, when we move toward section 98, okay, so here is the definition of revocable transfer. So earlier in Income Tax Act 1961, it was section 63, which has been replaced by section 98. So revocable transfer, again, it could be right to reassume control, direct or indirect benefit will be derived to the transfer out of that asset transferred. It covers implied revocation and express revocation. So both the revocations are covered into this definition of revocable transfer. Now the most important part of this clubbing provision is a section 99. Earlier we section 64. Section 64 talks about clubbing of income of relatives. Relatives की definition we all know. Husband, wife, brother, sister, lineal ascendant, descendant. Those are covered into the definition of relative. So section 99 talks about that if any of the spouse is getting remuneration from any of the entity in which other spouse is having substantial interest, in that case remuneration, salary, fee, commission will get clubbed in the hand of the transfer, yani the spouse which is having substantial interest in the concern. Okay, so uske हाथों में ये जो salary होगी, in his hands it would get taxed. But there is an exception to that also, that if the spouse is getting that salary, fees, commission, remuneration due to his technical or professional qualification, then this provision would not be attractive. Next, as you can see in this, see on the screen, that section 64, subsection 1, clause 4, clause 6, clause 8. All these sections have been merged in section 99. तो आप देख सकते हैं जो ये subsections और clauses हैं ना, वो अब इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 2025 में आपको देखने को नहीं मिलेंगे. Section 99 talks about spouse remuneration if asset has been transferred to spouse or daughter-in-law or any other person or association of persons for the benefit, immediate benefit or deferred benefit of spouse or daughter-in-law. All these sections talks about this one. So all these provisions have been merged into 99. Then also it would get clubbed in the hand of the transfer. Then there was a section 64 1A, which talks about the income of minor child. It would also get clubbed in the hand of the parents. So minor child के case में also there is an exception, that minor child के case में if it is out of talent or if income is arising to handicapped child who is suffering from severe disability under section 80U, then it would not get clubbed in the hand of the parents. But minor child की income जो है in other cases would get clubbed in the hand of the parent. If parents are not living together, then in the income of the parent who is taking care of the child, and if the parents are living together, then in the income of the parent who has a higher income as comparative to other, and once that income get added in the income of the parent, then it would subsequently be added in the income of that particular parent for rest of the life until assessing officer is of any other opinion. Now there is one another section, section 64, subsection 2, when HUF member is transferring the property or converting the property into joint family property, then also any income arising from that property would get taxed in the hand of the family members who has converted that property or who has transferred this property. So you can see that all these sections, section 64, subsection 1, clause 2, clause 4, clause 6, clause 8, section 64 subsection 1A and subsection 2, all these are combined into one section, that is section 99. So Income Tax Act 2025 has removed all these subsections and clauses from the Income Tax Act 2025. Now the last section is section 65 of Income Tax Act 1961, but this is section 100 in Income Tax Act 2025. Section 100 of 2025 says that in any case, if transferor is not paying the tax to income tax department, then in order to remove that loophole, section 100 has been introduced, which says that assessing officer can recover the amount of tax from the person who has actually received the income. So basically, if one source is closed. If transferor is not paying the tax, then there is another door that transferee would be liable to pay the tax, and he has to cooperate with the assessing officer in that. This section 100 says. So today we have learned almost 5 to 6 sections of ITA 2025 from section 96 to section 100. First, repeat with me to learn this thing. First, section 96 says that if only income is transferred but the asset is not transferred, then the uh, income would get clubbed in the hands of transfer. Next is the section 97, which talks about revocable transfer. Here we talk about when the assets are transferred. Section 97 says when assets are also transferred and any income arising out of that transferred asset would get clubbed in the hand of the transfer. Section 97 again tells us about the irrevocable transfer, that this is an exception in section 97, which says that in case of irrevocable transfer, income would not be clubbed in the hand of transferor. Section 98 talks about definition of revocable transfer. Section 99 talks about if the asset is transferred in the name of spouse, income is transferred to spouse. If asset is transferred in the name of daughter-in-law or to any other person who will be giving the benefit directly or indirectly either to spouse or to daughter-in-law, and income of minor child, or if the member of HUF are transferring or converting their property into HUF property, then income would get clubbed in the hand of the family members. Next, section 100 talks about the tax liability, that if any of the transferor is not paying the tax, then department can cover the tax from the transferee. So that's it today. Wise, you can have visual in your mind, and we have started this. Thank you so very much. Keep learning, keep growing with Shriji Tax Solutions. Namaskar.